Hello everyone and welcome back to Net Alpine Odyssey. That's kind of a weird intro, I know, but it's Planet Coaster and we are starting something a little bit new for the next upcoming episodes and months ahead as we not necessarily move on from Alpine Odyssey, but we're gonna start with another tangent series here. And you guys know that I do a lot of interiors in Alpine Odyssey, and some of you I know probably don't want to go through the daunting task of laboring out all of those small details. So what we're gonna be doing is I'm actually going to do a little bit more of a revived build series. A part of this is gonna be real time, so you guys get to hang out and hopefully enjoy that segment, and then part of it will be speed build, and then the final kind of real-time segment at the end like normal. So this is kind of an older format. This is kind of what we did with the coaster stations and stuff, but from the title you can see we are working on a almost like a commercial kitchen, industrial kitchen layout and items for you guys to use in your own parks. So hopefully you will find this useful. So we're going to start with the range. The range, of course, being kind of the most iconic thing about a kitchen, of course. Part of it's going to be some burners, and then another one is going to be a griddle on one side. So we are going to get started here without further delay, and hopefully in real time you guys get to see a little bit of more building techniques, straightforward rather than the sped up version. I know some people have some problems following along with speed builds all the time. So we're going to start by placing this post. This post is essentially what we use to make little items like this into a building. So we're going to sink it into the ground basically all the way down, right? Just so it's barely sitting on the surface there. And then that's going to allow us to build and make a structure that all stays together without having to make walls, floors, or anything like that. And I'm thinking I need to go ahead and get something here for size. I need two things. I need an animatronic, probably the Archer. The Archer is usually the best for this. All right, he's pretty much the closest to human scale as possible. We'll sink him down just so his feet are right on the ground here. Maybe slightly in because of his weight is pushing down. And then we need a floor tile. So I roughly know area. To do that, of course, we'll add a building flat roof section. What's the most smooth concrete, I think? We'll just do smooth concrete here, and we'll change the grid size just like that. All right, so now we have a little bit of a building platform and space to work on here. All right. So let's get started. We're going to grab some scenery items. Scenery items I think are going to be the best for at least the most basic of shapes. And then we'll add other things to it. Very similar to how we do the cars in Alpine Odyssey. We'll do some flat shapes. And let's come up with a size of this thing. Now this looks to be about my reference image is a 6-gas burner range with 2 standard 26-inch ovens and a 24-inch griddle. Yeah. So, I guess compared to our human, I don't have really a reference scale for the image that I'm using. However, this should work just fine, I think. This is a decent enough scale to go from. So this is how wide it's going to be, and also pretty much how tall the front is going to be. And the width, I think we can get away with basically using part of the block itself, like that, and then adding this little extra bit on the end. Now, right now, I'm not worried about color or anything like that. We are just focused on getting the shape right. All right, and there is that. So that's going to be kind of the surface top of the burner and grill. If it looks a little too tall, see, about waist level is where they sit, so it does look a little tall. So what we might have to do is actually come in here and scale this down a bit, right? So let's find his waist. It's about there, and we'll get rid of this. All right. but I'll keep it high on the sides. One, because we don't really have any way to make the sides much shorter than they already are. But also to kind of give it an interesting look to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfectly flush all the way around. You just want it good enough on the front side so that you can access the cooking space. We're going to keep half of it low and half of it a bit higher, right? Because the griddle usually sits up higher on one side than the other. It's kind of more of a flat top thing, right? So we'll raise that up. This side will have the burners, which will be some effect once we actually find something. And we need some doors for the front here for the oven. So we're gonna make sure to leave enough space for the little knobs for the oven. So we'll measure out probably half a block length, right, for the knob space. And then we'll start the door about there, and we're gonna sink in a block pretty far into the shape, right? Because this is basically gonna allow us to have a new shape right on top and flush to the base surface here. And we can move this over to about there. And what you can do is, I think at this point we'll go ahead and color the thing. So we're gonna go with a stainless steel look. Very classic, clean sort of design, right? So we'll start with that, and the doors, just to separate the two, we can either make them slightly lighter or slightly darker. I think we'll go slightly darker. That's fine. And that's alright. And there's some more details and things that we're probably going to have to add. I wouldn't mind a sequencer, right? Because we're going to have some oven handles to do. I think if we do this, look at that. That's going to be a nice handle to grab onto for these oven doors, right? Just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bump this out a little bit more, bring it down and around. Actually, we'll keep this right inside the oven doors, the handles. And we're going to make a little bit of a darker spot here for a glass pane so the chefs and things can look inside the oven. So this will be a lot darker to represent that. Just copy that over here. Take a look. Isn't that? It's already looking pretty nice. It could also, I guess, function as a sink as well, in theory. But for now, we'll keep doing it like this. We will use a screen mount, I think, for the little nubby legs that are on these things. We usually have these kind of more industrial like legs here. So we'll throw that there. You can stick out the side over there a bit. Alright. And here as well. Good. Now, I was also thinking, you know, why not just, is this angled in some way? It is. Look at that. I don't know how it managed to do so, but it's definitely at an angle. So I was going to use this to possibly get a effect around the doors, right? A little black line that's kind of going around it. Here, let's just give it a test, see what it kind of looks like going across the bottom here. And of course, leave it to me to break the part count on a minor detail such as this. But hey, this is kind of where Planet Coaster really shines and can be really fun, is going through and adding all these little details. So here we're almost to the 10-minute mark, which is about where I wanted to be to basically say that we'll be switching to speed build. So we can do that in just a half second or so. There we go. All right. You know what? Let's speed build this stuff up. Okay, so here we are, taking a look at the 3 other pieces that we made in today's episode. We have, in order, we have the commercial fridge. So this is just a single door fridge. Actually, I think it's supposed to have wheels to actually move around the kitchen if need be. In fact, I think all of these things need wheels, but we don't really have anything small enough. The smallest bobble wasn't really going to work in this case. Even that is too large of a piece for this. So for now, they just have kind of solid metal legs. but maybe eventually we can upgrade it to actually have little rolly wheels and things. I think that would look pretty cool. But we have the industrial fridge here, you know, big single door, probably full of shelves and things. We have kind of a little bit of an exhaust at the bottom. We have some hinges on the side, a door handle using the sequencer. You know, you can just rotate this inside, so you can see that we have rotated it at such an angle that only one little bit pops out, which is a pretty cool effect. On the back side, we have a few larger ports for, you know, ventilation, exhaust, of all the heat, of course. And that's pretty much it. All these things are very simple, but I wanted them to be simple and clean. And also, it kind of helps that stainless steel kind of utilities like this are fairly boxy and fairly straightforward, as you can see right now. Next to the fridge, we have our industrial sink. This is a 3-basin, you know, pretty deep, so you can really kind of wash things with ease in this without making too much of a mess. I did add, as an afterthought, this little hose going up to the top. Now, it would have like a spigot, and you would be able to pull it and like actually like control where you're washing or spraying off of, but there's not a piece really small enough to mimic such a thing. So for now, we just have a hose sticking up over one side and then some spools to represent that it can kind of roll up. I'm not sure if I really like that detail. It's up to you guys if you want to keep it on there, though. All of these things can be edited and changed to fit the kitchen of your need. So next to that, we have our countertop, but also it has storage in here. So these can be refrigerated for food storage. It can also be shut off, I'm sure, to be storage for other things that you might need in the kitchen. So this is basically the range and this here go hand in hand a lot of times. And then we have our range that we kind of built on camera. We have cool little tiki torches added into here. We have the upper shelf, added some lights, and plus it adds a little bit of verticality in there, and it looks pretty nice at nighttime. It doesn't glow too much. I mean, the tiki torches make it look a little bit more bright and then maybe otherwise, but I really like the way this all is turning out, and hopefully you guys are as well. Next episode for this, we are actually going to expand our selection of kind of commercial kitchen wares to include serving shelves and staging areas, so you know people can actually plate the items. Some more storage. We might do some overhead racks for utensils, pots, pans, things like that. I don't know how we'll be able to actually represent pans and things hanging from them, but that's what I want to do. We might do some cabinets, kind of above head cabinets, and maybe a large kind of vent to help circulate and get rid of the air in the kitchen. And then at that point, we'll be able to upload this to the Steam Workshop so you guys can use it into your own parks. You know, really work on those interiors and hopefully find some use for it, because interiors for me and these small little details are just so fun to make. You know, unlike The Sims, where you kind of already have these little assets and you just kind of plop them down in your house, I really enjoy making them myself. And plus, since they're so small, they're not overly time-consuming to do. The only main time-consuming part is actually finding each individual little piece. So that is it for today's episode of Planet Coaster. Next episode, we'll finish it, upload it to the workshop, as I said. If you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more creative goodness such as this. Go ahead and hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and see what other little pieces that you guys might need for your park, and I'll be happy to make them and upload them into the workshop. I think it's going to be a fun little build series going forward here every Thursday. So, see ya.